Good afternoon. Uh, Today's course, I am going to discuss about public health surveillance system. So, in the earlier session, you might have seen what are the various application of GIS in the field of health, and it involves from facility management to community medicine to epidemiology. So, this lecture we are going to focus on public health surveillance system. And the course outline, what we are going to cover is what are the essential components of the public health surveillance system, how these essential components can be visualized or seen in with perspective of the GIS. So in GIS based approach, how we can deal with different components of public health surveillance. Then moving further to, then we go to implementation level, how we can use open source solutions for uh, designing or implementing a public health surveillance system. And we will conclude with the initiative taken by IRS, and we will explain the tool which can be used incorporating all the components of public health surveillance system. And finally, we will end with the demo so that you can have a practical experience how you can collect data and visualize and finally analyze, and all these components will be covered in this session. So it will be more towards practical approach, so that at the end you should be able to understand what are the different components, how each component can be implemented using open source solutions. So before we begin, I thought it is good to just have an idea or a formal definition what is public health surveillance system. So public health surveillance system can be defined as a systematic collection, analysis and interpretation of data. So it involves three components: systematic collection, analysis, interpretation. So in India, we have one systematic surveillance system which is known as the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program. So under this program, Government of India systematically collect data from different health workers. And if you see this performer, they have three types of forms, like one is S form, L form and P form. So in S form, generally, now because it's systematic, they are divided into three categories. So S is basically syndromic or symptom based. So in S form, they are generally filled by the ASA workers and other paramedical staffs, but not by the direct medical doctors. So that's why they are called S form, which basically it involves capturing the data from the public, right? And where only not advanced medical degree or skills are required. Like there is a collection of like how many people are suffering from fever, how many has the cold, how many have diarrhea, how many has the fever with diarrhea. So these kind of symptoms are collected from different workers from the ground level. Similarly, P form, which is basically called probable or diagnostic. So once patient go to the doctors, different public health centers, PHCs, community health centers, from there this data is collected. Then finally we have L form. Basically it is collected from laboratory, where actually you have confirmed cases. So this weekly data is regularly updated into the IDSP portal, from the starting from the ASA level worker to then block level to district level, go to state level, and then from state level to the central one. So this data is systematically collected. So I am giving example IDSP, which is a good example of public health surveillance. So it is called integrated disease surveillance, because public health surveillance system can be of different types. One can be integrated, one can be specialized, like what we are currently seeing COVID-19 cases. So we are only collecting, analyzing, interpreting focused to the COVID-19. Then it is a specialized public health surveillance system. While integrated disease surveillance program, there are a group of symptoms, group of diseases all combined together, so that when a public health worker or ASHA worker collect data, it can be efficiently collected from all the diseases, probable diseases. So we no need to have a different program for different diseases. So in this scenario, data is collected, then data is of course need to be analyzed. So the different level of analysis being done. So based on the data collected from the ASHA worker, the someone in the above in the hierarchy, they will analyze the data. If they found there is some anomaly, then they will actually send some further experts who actually, he may be expert in study of virus, he may be expert in bacteria. So these then epidemiologists, they will go to field and collect further necessary data, analyze, then interpret overall data, then they declare okay, this public overall public health surveillance or public health is safe, or there is some outbreak. And so then comes what we do after collection, analysis and interpretation. So after interpretation, it is very essential part of public health surveillance system is that this information interpretation should be timely disseminated to the persons who are responsible for preventing and controlling, right? So public health surveillance, there are four pillars or four components which are very essential: systematic collection, systematic analysis, systematic interpretation, and finally timely dissemination of this interpretation to the say decision makers or to the actual worker or field worker or all the stakeholders who are involved in preventing and controlling of these diseases. So I will move further. So having some understanding of public health surveillance system will actually help to see it how GIS can help in that. So as we discussed, it has four components. One is collection, analysis, interpretation, and dissemination. So while systematic collection, analysis, and interpretation is very important, so that we always track what is this public health scenario. Finally, dissemination of these results to the stakeholders who can actually take actions. So how, if I see same thing in GIS based approach, how I need to collect data. So data collection in GIS, while traditional collection you can collect based on paper or something, but when you talk about GIS, is a geographical information system, so all data need to be in digital form. So then only it can be further processed or analyzed in the GIS. So for that, how we can collect data? We can either do digitization. It means you have the paper-based data or the field data coming from different people. They actually open a GIS software. They can create point with different attributes, but that is not going to efficient for mass data collection or from the field data collection. So we can use mobile apps or web browsers so that we have a HTML form or a mobile app from where data can be collected and sent back to the server, and from the server again data will come back to the GIS. So to analyze, first I need to collect. So collection, there is a two way in GIS based approach. One, either you can do digitization using the traditional GIS software, but that is not going to be efficient in the field scenario. But you can use mobile app and web browser as a tool from where data can be collected. For that, background mechanism of establishing server will be required, and we will as we move towards the end, at the end you will understand what are the different solutions available, ready-made off the shelf solutions available, which you can directly use for data collection. When data is collected, then it is imported into GIS software where you can analyze. So while analysis in epidemiology analyst or a virologist or a expert in virus, bacteria, he will analyze the actual actual samples collected, or the blood, laboratory, they analyze the blood. Now here in GIS, we are actually analyzing data. So we'll see how many cases are coming from which places. Suppose even simple fever is coming from extraordinarily large number of fever cases are coming from one location, then that it can be a indicator of something bigger which is happening in the background. So there either can be environmental factor or hygiene factor, or there can be a chances of a communicable disease spreading in that area. So analyzing in GIS software will help you to identify the area where the problem is and the kind of attributes which is actually creating problem. Then with the help of the domain expert, the epidemiologists all sitting together, if they can see and analyze from the combine all the results from different domains, then you can interpret what is the actual cause of this anomaly, and then finally you need to disseminate this information to the field worker and to the upper and lower management. so that they can take some decision. So in GIS, generally maps are created, so you can make a static maps, and then you can send. There are the other option where you can create a web map where as soon as you interpret and finalize anything at the real time, whoever is using that web map or you opened in a web browser, he can see the interpretation, so that instantaneously decision can be taken. So if you see how these things we can do in using open source solution, so we have like if you want to digitize, so open source there are multiple softwares. The one which we are focusing here, QGIS, very popular. A lot of contributors are there, and it's actually leading open source solution. So you can use QGIS for digitization, but as we discussed in earlier, that digitization may not be the appropriate or the efficient way for data collection. While mobile app or web browser, so because if you have a web app, it can be opened in mobile, it can be opened in a laptop, from there you can collect data, or you can use mobile app. From there also it is easy, because every from the starting level, ASHA worker to the up to the secretary level, every people have the mobile app. So for using mobile app also we can collect data. So now, what is the open source solution? Now, if I want to collect data from mobile, right? So if I want to collect data from mobile app, so there is can one thing, I develop a mobile app, I collect data, right? What data I will collect? I will collect some, say, patient information. I will have some check boxes which I need to tick. I will take some images, right? I will collect if some sample is collected, so I will say if the result is positive or negative. So what are the symptoms? These are the things which I want to collect from mobile app, right? So one way is you develop a independent mobile app and collect data, but that is time consuming. Then mobile app development, again it will take time. So we will talking about a solution which is an interoperable solution. The single app can be used for collection of various domain. So this open data kit and Kobo toolbox, these are the, we will see in detail in the demo also. These are the open data kit and Kobo toolbox are generic mobile app and the servers developed, right, by open source community, so that if you want to collect any data for any domain, forget about health, anything, if you want to collect data from multiple users, so basically you can use these solutions. So you don't need to develop a mobile app, generic app is there. You just need to have a server, and the server you send the necessary details, and the data will be automatically reflected in the mobile app. And or through, if you cannot access mobile app, suppose you are using some other OS in the mobile, you can use web browser, and from there you can collect data. So in the demo session at the end, we will give sufficient emphasis on understanding how I can use this ODK and Kobo toolbox. And generally, if you are a corporate user or organization, you want to have a control on your server, you can use ODK aggregate server or ODK central server. ODK full form is Open Data Kit. But suppose you are a NGO or you are a individual who want to do something without investing much in the enterprise level, and you are a non-commercial entity, then you can use Kobo toolbox either for your research project or for any humanitarian cause. This is free of cost. Kobo toolbox server is hosted by the UN OCHA. So it is a UN funded project, so you don't have any problem regarding server management. You can directly use this server and connect with your mobile and start collecting data. Once data is collected from mobile app or web browser, so what solution I was talking about, ODK and Kobo toolbox, they work both online and offline. It means, suppose you are connected to server and you know that you have a form which need to be filled, say S form, L form or P form in case of IDSP. So once form is loaded into mobile app, then while data collection, internet is not required. So even if internet is not there in remote places, you can collect data, and as soon as it will be stored in your mobile or in your browser cache, as soon as you are connected to the server, automatically this data will be uploaded to the server. So even in offline mode also you can collect the data. So from this server data for analysis, I will generally we need to download this data through a GIS software. So you export into some other format like CSV or KML or some format, and then import into GIS software. So recently, ICMR, if you are following ICMR website, you might have seen 10 days back they were doing the sero survey to check that presence of antibodies, or which can actually prove that we have a community level spread. So for that they were doing the population sero survey, and the sero survey also they have used ODK, because ODK provide you a ready-made solution which can be instantly used for data collection. So once you collect data, now you need to export and import into GIS software. From that server, now it come to GIS software where you can analyze it. And of course, GIS software provide lot of tools for interpretation. You can overlay with different source of data. You can query data. You can identify particular interesting feature based on some conditions. And then finally, you can create maps, and that map can be shared as a JPG PDF file to anybody you want. Similarly, QGIS have a lot of tools. Either you can use QGIS plugin like QGIS to web to export that whole maps, group of maps as a single web application as a HTML file, and that you can host in any server so that people can access live. Or you can use GeoServer and other technologies where you can actually publish your data as a service, right? So if somebody want to do this kind of analysis for HealthGIS, for our case, he need to first should be knowing what is ODK, what is Kobo Toolbox, right? He should create some forms in ODK. Once the data is collected, then he will go to the server, download this data, import into GIS, then only he can start the analysis. And here we are talking about near real-time analysis, or we want to have everything automatic. But that is not possible, because if you see open source system for mobile data collection, you are using different technology like ODK, Kobo Toolbox. Analysis and interpretation we are doing in GIS. So there is some what you say, due to the heterogeneity of the system, there is a break. So it is hard to find one person knowing everything. GIS user may not be aware of ODK. ODK user may not be aware of GIS. So in this scenario, what IRS has taken initiative is to integrate all these things together. So we have developed a system which is called Q Real Time. So what basically does is, from GIS itself, for a GIS user, it connects you with the ODK server. It connect so that as soon as data is collected, you can, from sitting in the QGIS, you can directly download this data as a layer into GIS. You can analyze, right? And same time, suppose you want to create a new form, new data collection, you want to collect from new data from the field, so you can create a simple GIS layer in the QGIS, and with a single 1 or 2 click, you are able to make it available in the all mobile phones connected to your server. So in this way, what we have done is we try to integrate this popular open source solution into and making them interoperable, because ODK data format and the GIS data format, they are different. Both conceptually and the logical level, this GIS layer and the ODK form, they are totally different. So they don't match it at all. So what Q Real Time, our initiative, is doing is on the fly translating ODK X forms to ODK forms to GIS layer, and vice versa, GIS layer to ODK forms, so that person analyst or the person who are actually want to access the data need not to bother about this different technological term, and seamlessly he will be able to integrate. At the same time, I will briefly explain the integrity of these ODK and QGIS, so that those who are advanced user or those who are developer attending this class, they will be able to easily develop further, and advanced work if you want to do, they will be able to do. Otherwise, the normal user, if they have a QGIS and Q Real Time plugin, they should be able to do the job without knowing much about the other technology. How simple it is, I am going to demonstrate. Okay. So what basically we are doing, if you can see here, in the QGIS, we create a layer, right? Layer creation, GIS layer creation is a primary task, all GIS user know, and then you digitize. But in place of digitizing, if what I am doing, I am making it online. So I am sending this layer, converting into the form and uploading into the server, centralized server. And this server act as a repository of the forms which are collected by ODK Collect. So we have ODK Collect or Kobo Collect, and either Kobo Toolbox or ODK aggregate server, any server is fine. So this data is sent here, and whoever is connected with the mobile, they will able to download this form and fill the form and send back to the server. Again, whenever you want to see how many submission are there, you just click on a layer, or right click and say import, and select the form for which you want to collect data. So all the data filled by the GIS users will come back to the all the data filled by the field users or field data collectors will come back to the GIS layer. So only thing QRealTime user need to know is one menu item where you can make online, you can import, or if you don't want to do that, you can make sync on and say 30 seconds or 1 minute or 1 hour. Each 1 hour, QGIS will automatically check for the server, download whatever data collected from the users and show you in the layer box. Right? So our demo have two parts. So first part I will just show you the data form creation. Then I will share with you the link, and where you can actually fill that link and send your data, and then I'll show you how that data can be visualized. Right? And those who are actually interested in COVID-19 and other cases, this the Excel link which I will share, this is the minimum reporting format for WHO for COVID-19. So if you want to collect data from symptom, what should be the minimum data format? Right? So advanced user, those who are interested in COVID, they can see this form, and I will also demonstrate how this form can be published in your own server and you can collect data. Kobo Toolbox server link is given, and QRealTime, this is the home page from where we can get it. So we will now move ahead to the demo part. Right? Okay, so this is QGIS. Most of the GIS user, if you are using QGIS or ArcGIS, there is not much difference. If you are familiar with any one software, you will be able to operate another software. So I just created a new project, and I will go and search for a plugin name. So if you are in the plugin option, plugin manager, there are option like experimental plugin and normal plugin. So our the stable version is only connects with the ODK aggregate, and for that you should have a ODK aggregate installed. But in the experimental version, we are supporting Kobo Toolbox, so that one second. Yeah, so we are supporting Kobo Toolbox, so that you don't need to host a server, directly available UN server can be used. So now in the repository, I will search for a plugin which connect with ODK or Kobo. So I get this one and I will install it. Yes. So this plugin is installed now. So if plugin is installed, you can see the ODK symbol here, which basically say QRealTime setting, or you can go to the plugin and QRealTime and go for QRealTime settings. So there is two tabs, one is for aggregate, one is for Kobo, right? Aggregate and Kobo. So I will be using the Kobo one. So I have already user ID created. Those who don't have a user ID, they can go to the server and create their user ID. Okay. I will not write the password now. Let's just simply say okay. Now I will create a new shapefile. Say I am creating a shapefile in the desktop. Say test. I'll say I will delete this, and I say I have to add one field, so I can add like name. I say okay. So I have created a layer here, right? So now from this layer, there are three options. If you right click and see, there are three options. One is sync, one is import, another one is make online. So what is the purpose of make online is, if you have created a layer, for the same layer you want to collect data from field, you can use the make online. But suppose already forms are there which are being collected from the users, you want to download this data, you can go for import and select from which form you want to collect the data, right? So these two options are there. So I will quickly open the link of Kobo Toolbox. Right. So as you move down, you can see there are two options. Either you can log in into the humanitarian version, or you can log in into the researcher version, right? So I have account on humanitarian organization. So I'll just log in. Anybody can create account. It is free. Right. So good. So same thing I'm going to do here. Okay. So basically, whatever account you have with the Kobo Toolbox, same account user ID password you need to enter here. So I went to the plugin, I went to the Kobo, I entered that and pressed OK. Right? So now I am connected to the Kobo Toolbox server, and also same credential which I have for Kobo Toolbox, I have entered into my plugin. This is simple. And this server is hosted free of cost for you by the UN. So you don't need not to worry about that. Now I have a layer. So I simply create a layer for data collection, right? So what I can go for property and see what are the different fields here, right? So if I see fields, there is only one field. So I want to create some more fields. So I'll start editing. I will add one more field, say live pick. I will make it text. Okay. Then I also want to collect your level. Say I want to see what is the level of expertise or level of user who are, and make it integer. So 0 to, it will start from 1 2 3 4. So I have created three fields. One is name, another one is picture, pic for photograph or something, and another one is level. Similarly, if you have a, I will also demonstrate COVID-19 forms, how they have created it. So now if I save it, right? So these three layers are created. These three attributes are added. So if I open this and see attribute table, there are three: name, pic, and level, right? And if you try to digitize in normal GIS digitization process, so this is the way it will come. Okay. Now I want to change it again. I don't want like this, because generally mobile we don't type. We want to have some option where user can select from the list. So name, of course, he needs to type. Then pic. What in the pic? Actually, I made a pic. Pic means photograph as a text file, because I will not have anything here like directly photograph, but address of the photograph will be stored. So I will go for here and choose the attachment, because it is field where basically pictures is going to be attached. I said okay. So what I have done till now is, I went to the QGIS layer properties. First I choose the number of fields. Then there is a option for attribute forms. There I choose name as it is. Pic I made it as attachment, and level I will make it as a value map. Means if you choose, you are a beginner for GIS, so you will get value 1, or you can have a level like intermediate, so you'll get value 2. and last one is 3. So you can be an expert, or finally there may be some of you may be a developer who actually work with the software. You develop softwares or tools for GIS. So these are the 4 level I can see, and I said apply. Okay. So now if I go for digitization, what will happen is whenever click a point, it will ask the name I need to type, then it will ask for attachment which I can attach, then it will ask to choose anyone, right? This is how digitization will work in QGIS. But this is not ultimately I want same thing to be happen from the mobile or from the browser. So what you can do is you can right click, go to Q real time and say make online. Right. So once I made it, so the layer with the test has created. So I should have the change the name of the layer name. So I will just change the layer name so that our form should have some meaningful name. So I will say like user feed. So for user feed, I will right click and say make online. So whatever is the name of the layer, same would be the name of the form which will be seen to the user. Fine. So as we can see the green message, it means our plugin is telling that data is captured and it is available for data collection. Okay. So here, if I just refresh it now, you can see another form is created, user feed, right? And this user feed form I can open in a browser, in a mobile, and if you have a Kobo Collect app, it will available in your mobile app also. For both are equivalent. It's taking some time to load. I think it's the problem with the browser. I will open another browser here. Yes. Now it is asking you want to allow location, right? So as soon as I can see location is captured, you say allow location. So my current location is captured, right? Then it is asking for name. So I can say my name is Shiva. Then my level, I can say I come here, developer level, then picture. So you can assign any picture. If you are using from mobile, computer, you can assign any file, image files, or if you are using from the mobile, automatically give option to take a picture and upload, right? So our environment, I cannot do this. I will attach some pictures here. No, it's blank anyway. Good. Right? I will submit again. If you see, once you submit, this record is queued for the submission every 5 minutes. When the web page is open and internet connection is available, it will send. So it will be here, it will check if internet is there. If it's not there, it will wait. And if it's there, it will send. So each 5 minutes will check. So user feed, one data has been sent. So yeah, I can see a lot of people have started collecting data. So if I see it here, okay. Okay. So yeah, so there is small picture here. You can see each 30 seconds I am just making it sync. So this is without picture. This is without picture. Yeah. So Amit Banerjee has put a pic. So if I click, I can see his pic also. Yes, nice pic, nice background. Okay, so so yes, so what I will do is I'll just quickly overlay some of the layer so that actually you can see. You can overlay with the map of any country so that you can actually visualize where this location, but this location like current coordinate is 80.34, right? And 12.90. So if I click it here, yes, Santosh have some submission with his passport size picture, right? Which I can see. See, so all of you can see, right? So this data is collected to Kobo. If you go to the actual Kobo toolbox, then you need to download, click, then you import, and that too it is not possible in real time. But using this plugin, you can actually real time you can collect the data. So this is one way. I will see what are the questions, and I want to show you that if you want to collect from COVID, so this is the link from where you can actually get the XLS form, basically Excel sheet, right? Which and this sheet has like survey forms, which this Excel sheet can be directly uploaded to the Kobo toolbox, and then your form will be available. So in the Kobo toolbox, you can directly upload new form. So when I say new, you can upload from XLS form. So that is also possible. But from the GIS, you can analyze now because it is in GIS. You have advantage. Why? Because now you can do all kind of spatial temporal analysis, and within some 30 second, 1 minute, you can keep syncing. So how many data I got is I can check it here. So there are around 28 submissions from the user. So it's like doing is the believing. So now you see that how simple it is. You created an account in Kobo toolbox, and then you same username password you entered into your QRealTime plugin, and then your QRealTime plugin directly connect with the Kobo toolbox and send your data, and as soon as the data is collected, it will come to your server. Okay, I will just stop the sync now, right? So now if I open attribute table, I can do different kind of task. I can do the see how many developers are there. So if I want to select, so I can say that field level. So developer level was, the level is equal to 4, and I say select feature. So there are, I will say show only selected feature. So there are 3 developers. So see here it is showing developer, but it's actually an integer type. So that's why when I put query, I can put there's a number. So there, when you are creating value map, you can have a name for integer also, right? Or you can simply do the vice versa. Okay. So similarly for health data, I have opened Excel sheet. So if you have any parameter, you can do the search. I will not go to the health field because in the short duration we cannot analyze that. But I have shown you, you can collect any data, right? Using GIS, and once it comes to GIS, you can analyze it.